Regreening simply means looking at a property and seeing whether you can reintroduce the local ecology, the local landscape, whether that means reconstructing the wetlands, whether that means putting in a park, community gardens, growing food. It also often means looking for those opportunities. Was there a stream corridor that was culverted, and is there an opportunity to daylight that stream so that you can actually improve water quality? So regreening, there are a whole bunch of different strategies, but it just means, I think, kind of what it says, going from asphalt and gray back to green. The opportunities of regreening sometimes are sort of seen as a last resort. It's a community that doesn't have much other opportunities. But increasingly, we're actually seeing that communities recognize that putting in a park actually increases property values. And if there isn't a market for a new building at that point, it's a great sort of placeholder until you can get some more development, either ringing the park or alongside it. I think we also there's so much more awareness of the need to make use of green infrastructure and ecosystem services. We're sort of more ecologically aware than we were in the 60s and 70s when we were building the suburbs. So when we look at these just acres and acres of asphalt, now we recognize that we can improve our water quality, improve our air quality by reintroducing more trees, more bioswales. These are really fairly simple techniques. In Denver, 8 out of 13 regional malls have announced plans to retrofit. And essentially it's because these are primarily single-owner, large properties. They generally have great locations, usually at major intersections. So developers have begun to realize that these dying malls are a fantastic opportunity. Those are great sites to really create new communities. And I think part of what it says is that both the public sector and the private sector have figured out how to make it work. In Denver, the Public Works Department, the Planning Department, the Building Department are all kind of working together so that this isn't too much brain damage on the developers. And meantime, the developers have figured out, and the developers, the bankers, have figured out how to do mixed use so that, again, that they're able to pull this off. Because it's much more complicated to build a new downtown than it is to simply build a retail facility.
But worth it.
Absolutely worth it. Both economically, environmentally, and certainly socially. I think Nashville I'm really impressed with the infill work that has gone on in the West End, in East Nashville, in Germantown, and where there's already a walkable street grid structure, and the new buildings are clearly new and modern, but they still have the same human scale and great grain to them that works so beautifully with those existing neighborhoods. And I think the next opportunity for Nashville really is to retrofit some of these, frankly, kind of ugly, kind of unsafe, underperforming corridors where there are some very big parcels and there's opportunities to really do big things, but I hope you don't lose that wonderful small human scale.